Hi, everybody. How are you doing today? I have a tip for you. If you're new here, my name is Sherry. I just woke up. I figured I'd have coffee time with you guys. I just had some coffee. Um, it is Tuesday. What else was I going to share? I'm an adult with ADHD. I'm trying different things to better manage my life and my time and my symptoms. And I also am an adult that might have autism, and I'm going through the process of learning about that and trying to figure out if I am able to get an assessment for that. That is a little bit challenging. But if you or someone you know is a neurodivergent adult who struggles with ADHD, autism, or other form of neurodivergence, or if you struggle with anxiety or depression or anything like that, or if you just feel really different and you're looking to feel like you're okay just the way you are, subscribe if that's interesting to you. I will be growing a community where people can just unmask and feel free to be themselves as I start doing lives. Um, yeah, so I will get, you know, I'll get dressed and I will do some things later on today or this week and give you a much longer update. But yeah, things have been going good. Things have been going good. I have been struggling for so long, and the struggles had gotten so bad. So I have struggled with ADHD and recently had a burnout, and I was out of work for 4 months, and I had no idea what that was. I had no idea what was happening to my body and why I felt so sick. I had no idea what masking is. I had no idea how highly masking I am. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's complicated. It's hard to learn about these things, right? As you're going through your own like history and reflecting on your childhood and your life to try to figure out like what applies to you and what doesn't. And the thing that takes, I think, the longest is the reflecting and remembering stuff from your childhood. If you're an older adult and starting to question it in your 30s, 40s, 50s, the more years or decades that go by from your childhood, the less you're going to remember, of course, which makes sense. They say every 7 years we have a completely different body. Every cell has died and been replaced by a new one. So it makes sense that the brain isn't going to hold on to memories that it doesn't really use. It's a lot. Because as you're going and you're reflecting about these things, the memories will pop in later. I don't know why. It's almost like all of a sudden something will trigger a memory. Something in your day-to-day life will trigger a memory, and you're like, oh, I did do that. And then there's, of course, sorting through. If you're someone like me and you're already diagnosed with ADHD, I should put on some makeup. I think I'm going to go do that. I'm spacing out so bad. I worked last night. All I really wanted to do is show you my happy light. Get yourself a happy light. All I wanted to do was come in here and tell you guys that my depression was getting better, and this is part of the reason. So go on Amazon and get yourself a happy light if you want to try it. It doesn't change your brain chemistry right away. It simulates. You can see my mess. Look at this. This is what we're going to be working on this week. And I actually just, look at that. Isn't that horrible? I don't even know how I got this bad. You can't even differentiate where the table ends and the pile begins. But let me show you. You guys will be proud. You guys will be proud. My mess got so bad that there wasn't even, like, I kept moving things over here to have the mess in one space, but it started taking, there were laundry baskets full of stuff. I am so proud of myself, guys. I'm so proud of myself. The other night, I really made myself, I was procrastinating all day because I get so much anxiety with my executive functioning issues. I literally can't think straight to start sorting through the mess. I can't explain it. I don't really completely understand it, even though I know about it. It doesn't make sense to me. You can tell I'm starting to stress out just thinking about it. I'm like stimming, I'm swaying. So yes, whew. As I found things and I didn't know what to do with them, then I started putting them in bins, and then I shoved the bins underneath the table. And this started with, just a basket to keep my journal, which went missing. And then I had some supplies to write in the journal, and then I was doing art. So that stood there. Then I had a plant that was dying, and I've been trying to save it, but it was too cold near the window. Incense, gemstones from jewelry I was making. Yeah, I leave stuff out and I forget about them. Spices from when I was eating, crocheting projects. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm stressing out just thinking about it. Okay. Why this stresses me out, I have no idea. I have no idea. It's a neurodivergent thing. If you guys don't have this issue, then this is going to seem weird to you. This is huge. This is huge. Yesterday I worked, so I worked Monday this week. I might be changing my schedule because of some issues that I'll tell you guys later. I really don't want to get into it right now. So I asked my, oh God, sometimes I just want to start recording because I think of something when I wake up and I don't feel like getting all dolled up or whatever. I just want to talk to you about something. I'm like, oh yeah, I thought of something I want to tell you. It's actually in the afternoon for me. I'm so tired. Okay, I'm going to give myself grace. Tuesday is my rest day. So since me going back to work after my burnout, which was sometime in December, just before Christmas, so I have a bad back. If I take care of it, then I don't re-pull it. But there's something about a retail, the getting up, the kneeling down on the floor, the how you bend your back to put things away. There's certain movements that I can't do because it'll aggravate it and re-injure it. In the future, as I get new primary care and other doctors, I will ask for a referral to get an x-ray or some kind of scan because I never did, just to see what it is that's happening. Like if there's something out of alignment, maybe I could just go to a chiropractor and just be realigned. I don't know if it's a nervous pinched or what, but eventually I want to find the physical therapy stretches that I used to do for it. And since we moved and my ADHD, I absolutely have no idea where it is. I kind of remember the exercises, but I don't remember how many reps, how many seconds for each, and it's been so long since I did them that I really don't remember. But each week since December, and we're in mid-February now, end of December, so we'll say it's close enough to the beginning of January, so we'll say, what's that, a month and a half, 2 months now. I came back to work 1 day a week because that's what I'm physically able to do. So I'm accepting this, and old me, younger me would be like, yeah, no, that's it. And I would just kick my own ass into gear. But burned out me doesn't have that option. And it got more complicated because I am an adult that is diagnosed with major depression, and it periodically comes up. it happens both because it's genetic, it runs in my family, and there's a predisposition for it, and it also is triggered from trauma and other things, things that happen in my life that aren't planned for. I can't recover. Like a move I suddenly had to do. I still haven't recovered from like 7 years ago. I still don't know how to adjust and pivot. That's another reason I think I might have autism too, because I do relate to a lot of those things, but we'll get into that later. Sorry, I'm all over the place. It's my rest day. So each week I have been trying to do different things to heal myself, like different self-care things to slowly try to be moving forward. I've been slowly starting to make better videos, and I'm happy about that. There's so many things I want to do for fun. There's so many things I want to do with this channel. There's so many things I want to do with learning about different career fields in case this channel isn't something that, I want to look at this realistically. If this is successful, great, awesome. But I also want to, my time is limited. I'm 50, my mom's in her 80s now, and I want to get myself into a financial position to take care of myself. So my fiance, he's basically like my husband. We just haven't, gone and actually, because if you've ever been married before, it's a lot. And so the second time you're like, yeah, I really want that, but I don't want to do all of that work, and I'm broke. It's a lot of work. And a lot of my family has passed away or moved away, and it's just like, do we need to do it to be married? We might go to a courthouse and just do it. But yeah, we just had our anniversary. 15 years, 13. Yes, 13 years. And yeah, this month has kind of been meh. I think he's been getting depressed because my messes have just taken over. And it's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? When you struggle with depression, you ever see the Hoarder show? So have you noticed a theme? I don't know. I've only watched a few of them, but have you noticed that it seems like all the ones I've seen, the person who has become a hoarder had gone through some like traumatic thing in their life, and they haven't been able to recover from it. It just devastated them so much. It like broke their spirit or their brain. I've had some things like that, not to that extent, but enough to mess me up and needing to get counseling. So I have a touch of that. Plus I have ADHD, so my thoughts are not organized, so my space is not organized. I have time blindness, and I'm all over the place. For a period, when I was trying to do this 30-day experiment over the last few months, I was spending a lot of energy in trying to create any kind of routine, but I didn't have anything attached to it. So it was really hard for me to stick to it because of my ADHD. Makes it almost impossible to do anything at a regular time every day. It just feels like pushing a boulder up a mountain like Sisyphus. It's like mission impossible. So I have to conserve my energy and decide, okay, let's shift, let's try something different. So each week since I've been back to work, I've been walking a little bit here and there, like a couple times a week. I started just like walking like 5 or 10 minutes. I was going to do 5 or 10 minutes every day. I was trying to find something that was a little bit moving my body, because when you're in a burnout and your body has just been at such a high stress level from masking, and you don't realize because you're neurodivergent and that's just how you've always experienced things, and other people don't seem to have as much difficulty, and you don't realize that you have a dysregulated nervous system and little things stress you out. It's like when you reflect, you absolutely know. And you're like, oh, it's a thing. It's not just me being a baby, which kind of makes it worse in a way because you're like, "Ugh, that means I can't fix it." But you can make choices to change your job, to manage, like maybe find a job. If you like the job you're at, find one that has different hours. There's like all different adjustments you can make according to what your sensitivities are and what your level of capacity is. And when you're in a burnout, I feel like it's like a physical chronic fatigue. It's absolutely horrible. It's the worst. And then it makes, if you have ADHD and or autism, whatever symptoms or challenges you have, because you're neurodivergent, it like jacks them. It feels like 100% worse. It feels like you're a whole different human. Like, luckily, I have not had the challenge of being nonverbal, but I become that way when I'm overwhelmed. So I don't know if that counts. I shut down. But I don't know if that's the same thing at all. Yeah, that I know that there is a spectrum to both in as far as what challenges you have, because there's like several different kinds of challenges you have in ADHD or autism. So every person is different in how their challenges are. And then there's also different in how severe they are, as far as like how much they interfere with your daily functioning, your ability to take care of yourself, your ability to think straight, your ability to feed yourself. If you have ARFID, if you get nauseous, if your sensitivity has to do with flavor, texture, and smell, and sensitivity in neurodivergent, if you're not neurodivergent, the sensitivities are not something like, oh, you're just being too sensitive, although I'm sure it seems that way. It is neurological. So when they talk about neurodivergence as your brain, the connections in your brain neurologically and your nervous system and how the messages. So if you think about it, if you break it down to a simple viewpoint in a way that hopefully everyone can understand, what is it like when you have a touch sensation? You touch something hot and then it hurts you. Okay, well, that technically is a message, a sensory message that goes from the part of your body that was injured, and it travels up the nerves up to your brain, which then takes that information, processes it, and turns it into pain, a feeling that you actually feel. So, which is there for a reason, is to keep you safe. Now, imagine if the wiring was different in your brain. Imagine it like circuits all messed up in a computer, or circuits that are mixed up in the wiring in your home or wiring in your car, electrical circuits that are different or wired differently. Think of it, it's a very physical thing. So if your wiring in your brain or your nervous system is different because you're neurodivergent, you diverge from the norm of the typical nervous system, you will sense things differently. So now for somebody, let's say somebody has a sensitivity, who is neurodivergent, has a sensitivity to touch. I have that too. I have some of that. Some people have it way worse than me. It can be a challenge, but it's not terrible. I can get into what my sensory profile is that I think. I haven't had screening yet, but just like from reflecting over the last few months, I can start to kind of get into that as I'm starting to kind of distill down some of these things as I'm trying to sort it all out. It's so freaking confusing. Because if you're a woman and you're neurodivergent, you present differently than men. So most women fly under the radar and do not get diagnosed until they're adults. They have similar percentage of, most women don't get diagnosed with autism until they're adults, and most women don't get diagnosed with ADHD until they're adults for similar reasons, even though they're two different things and they have different symptoms. Yes, there are overlaps, so there are things that either one can deal with, Now, most women don't have necessarily outer behaviors that would set them apart to really seem like they even have problems, so they don't get diagnosed. And then if you had the added benefit of legitimately having both ADHD and autism, I'm starting to find that, I mean, just a few years ago, they didn't think that was possible. But not only do they know now that it's possible, but a lot of these people, I've noticed a lot of the YouTubers, a lot of the people talking in the community and learning about their own neurodivergence are starting to suspect, no, I really relate to this other thing too. And then they go get screened for it, and it turns out they do have both. So it's starting to seem to me that, at least with the, I haven't seen everyone. It could just be the group of people that I've seen, but out of the people that I've seen, I want to say at least half of them have both. I seem to have been making friends more with people who are ADHD and autistic. I'm not sure why. But that's just how it's been happening, and that's what I relate to a lot. So I find that really interesting. And even though that's true, the thing that's kind of maddening, and it's almost like being in a house of mirrors where everything's kind of distorted, makes it so confusing. It's still, after all this, it still could be that it's only ADHD. Maybe. I have watched so many videos in the last year. Forgive me, this is like a stream of consciousness one. But the things I'm talking about today are important. And luckily I am, even though this is like how I look when I'm having a struggle day, I'm not having a struggle day today. So that's good. As far as the update, I know I just jumped topic really quick. I'll just I won't be offended if you guys don't watch this, but the Happy Light's been really helping me. I want to say that I've been using it a solid month, and I tend to forget it's on, so I think that's good because then I get like 2 hours of it. I'm exhausted all the time. Even in an ideal situation, having a genetic connection to depression, I am tired a lot. I don't know how much is burnout. I don't know how much is depression. So it's been very confusing. And here's another thing that I relate to autism, that I feel like both people with ADHD or autism can have, and that's the monotropic thinking. I do have a cousin that was recently diagnosed with autism who has both ADHD and autism. And I suspect that my dad might have had autism. He did have monotropic thinking. Even though he and I were completely different, I could talk to him for hours about things. He would get so excited about science. I could talk to him for hours. It was awesome. It was so cool. I miss that. I feel like other people around me, like, they don't think the same way, and that's okay. I don't want any neurotypical people that come here and see my content because somebody you love has ADHD or autism or both. I want to try to be very mindful to see the good in neurotypical people as well. It's really hard for me with negative experiences that I've had, and the bullying and the judging and the being in trouble all the time growing up over the years, not only being little, but through the teen years and the 20s and on. And it just goes from, it doesn't change. Little children who have autism grow up to be an adult who has autism. It doesn't go away. Little children who have ADHD grow up to be adults who have ADHD. It doesn't go away. So you look normal. You look better. You look like you're coping better. You may even think you're coping better. But life has forced you to just like suppress all of those things that would irritate people around you or you'd get in trouble for, like talking too much, being late. And I think the self-esteem toll that it takes when you are not diagnosed and you have no idea you're struggling with this thing your whole life, it's a real mind F. That's why I think that going through and sorting through your life and your past and trying to sort through each of these different potential challenges can be really challenging. If you're older, not only do you have to deal with, okay, well, maybe if you're old enough, if you're in your 50s, your parents may not still be alive. You may not have people around you that you could just say, hey, what was I like as a kid? I don't remember. I'm going to have to move because the sun's coming around. I can't believe it's the afternoon, guys. I'm not going to stay. I was just excited about my happy light. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. You know, I was thinking, don't get too tired. There's some things you want to do today. But Tuesday is my rest day for a reason. I give myself that. That's why I look like this. And if you're like me and you're coming out of a burnout, you might want to consider doing that for yourself. And I feel like I'm constantly having to reassert it and remind people about that. And I give myself that boundary. I give myself permission to have a day. And depending on how burned out you are, for you, it might be 2 or 3 days until you start to recover, because your health is really affected. And you feel like you're crazy. You absolutely feel insane because nobody around you goes through this. And you're like, why am I so exhausted? And so it looks and it feels just like depression, exactly like depression. The physical exhaustion is insane. If you haven't had depression or neurodivergent burnout, imagine having long-term COVID for just the exhaustion aspect. And your body feeling like you've had the flu. You know how like when you've had the flu, so let's say your fevers are gone and your sore throat is gone and you've like cleared your congestion. You're not like throwing up. But that part where you're still sick physically, your body is exhausted. And if you push yourself and you start cleaning your house or you start doing things because you're frustrated and you're like, I can't do this anymore. I feel like crap. I'm so sick of being sick. I'm so sick of being in bed. And you get up and you try to push against it and you end up exhausting yourself worse and end up in bed. That is burnout. And it sucks, man. So it's been very tricky for me. I look horrible. Oh my God, I'm sorry, guys. I know I keep saying I'm not going to do this anymore, but I wake up in the morning and sometimes there's things I want to tell you. And I want to be myself. I hope I can get to the point where I'm not like this on film, camera, video, whatever. I'm going to go because I'm just going to ramble for another half hour. I have no idea what I was saying. I'm so sorry if this is unwatchable. But it is an update. And the update is that this past week I decided, okay, I read something. It reminded me of how important exercise is for depression. The tools, the skills, the things you learn to try to cope with depression is opposite of what you do to cope with burnout. Burnout, you just have to rest and take care of yourself. And it sucks. It sucks. It's like adrenal fatigue. So you have been on exhaustion and stress and anxiety, and the nervous system and your whole entire body has been at such a high level for so long that it's just given everything it has. And now it's like injured and you're sick. Your body has been completely depleted of your energy and vitality. And you can't keep functioning. You have to stop and rest. You have to. Your body, you have to care about your body so it can get better. And it sucks. It sucks. It happens at the worst time. You know, people have kids to take care of. I have a mother who's aging. I want to take care of her. Anyway, so the good thing is that I have been consistent with the Happy Light. This week I've used it every single day. I decided to start upping the time that I walk. At first it was just 5 to 10 minutes because after coming out of a burnout and having to rest for so many freaking months, my body was just like still, like I was starting to feel better, but you deplete yourself of like your muscles and everything. It's horrible. So, and because I didn't know how much was my depression, you want to exercise more. You want to drink more water. You want to expose yourself to the Happy Light. The Happy Light might help both. I don't know. Because that helps with the serotonin. But walking, I wanted to have some kind of a small, tiny activity that was just a little step from sitting on the couch. I couldn't just jump up and jump into a regular exercise routine. You can tell. You can see it in my face. Look at my circles under my eyes. Yes, I'm getting older. But this, you can tell. I'm not wearing makeup. Look at my eyes. I'm exhausted. And this shouldn't be this way. This is just one day of work. And it shouldn't be this way. Yeah. So I'm still kind of struggling to try to push myself out of the breakout. And it's happening so slow, guys. So slow. But each week is a tiny bit better. Oh, the clouds part. The sun rays come down. So I have something to hope for. And I just started cleaning things out. I hope I don't fall back off of that. I hope I can start. It's motivating me. I almost did a body doubling session with you guys, but I don't think I want to. I'm embarrassed until I can actually talk to you guys about it in a live, because it's kind of boring. So I don't know if you'd like. And then this past week, here, I started keeping track. I'll show you. You ready? Here. So I started keeping track this past week on this Monday. I was going to do 30 minutes a day, but because before I was only periodically, like I didn't even write it down. I was like doing 10 minutes this day, 5 minutes this day, like such small amounts that I was trying to kick my butt into gear. So this is just me walking in circles, but it's still moving. It's still helping. So I walked 20 minutes on this Monday. I walked 30 minutes on this Tuesday, 30 minutes. And then by this day I was toast. So I meant to do it as a rest day. And then the next day I forgot. And then I got out of the habit. And then I haven't walked since. So this is today. I don't know if I feel up to walking. I'm exhausted. I want to go back to bed. I need to go to the store and actually get nutritious food. So yeah, that walking, I think, and between the walking and the Happy Light, I feel immensely, like I still feel like garbage, you can see, but night and day, it's still a lot. Like that each week was such a tiny incremental amount. This past week, it kind of went up a little bit more, but it's like, oh, I can feel like, oh, this is good. This walking helped me. And I want to figure out, like, go back and maybe do every other day instead of 3 days in a row, because that like was too much too fast and it kind of sabotaged me. I was too ambitious. And when it's nice enough, I can start going outside. But it is where I live. It has been some of the days it has been so bitterly cold that it's not safe to be outside. Because, extended periods of time outside and negative degrees or in the tens. Who is freezing? It's freezing. I love you guys. I'm so lucky and grateful to be here. And I've just exposed the most embarrassing parts of myself over the last, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January. This month will be, I didn't do that right. Why am I using a clock? I can't keep numbers in my head. I read about this. It's something to do with my particular neurodivergence. That's like I visually can't hold the numbers in my head. So let's say May. I'm going to use the number 5. And then what is Oh, that's perfect because 12 hours. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. We start at 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 months. Wow. I thought it was like 6 months. So I've been here 9 months. I want to sit in front of the window, but I'll blind you. There's so much I want to do. I started doing, like, I was going to commit to doing a video every Thursday, and I was trying to figure out, and last week I was not able to do that. I think I'm going to sit down. I want to go, but I feel like there's something else I want to tell you that I'm forgetting. So I started working on this area that I'm cleaning out. It got so bad. It's not just stressful and embarrassing for me. It affects people I live with. I'm making them depressed. Like, how is my fiance supposed to function in a house that is so filled with stuff you couldn't even walk over to the window? And then when it was time to, we were going to celebrate. I don't remember why we didn't celebrate Valentine's Day. I think there was a snowstorm. I think he had to go to work and plow. I'm still mad that they make him plow. Like, they don't have a specific shift. When there's a snowstorm, he's got to go during the peak hours. So if the peak hours are overnight, he's got to work overnight. There was a day this week. It was a few days ago. What is today's date? Is it the 18th? What is today's date? Yeah. It was a few days ago. It might have been. Was Valentine's Day Saturday? I don't know. It was around Valentine's Day. I think he plowed the night before and he didn't sleep. He had to go to work at 11 o'clock at night and work until 7 in the morning. I don't know about you guys. I had to explain to him, this is the whole thing about the neurodivergent thing. Taking a while to really kind of the reality of all the different ways that, hey, oh, this difficulty you have that you've just always accepted, but you didn't realize that, oh, that's neurodivergent too. If I don't have enough sleep, I get physically sick. I saw something yesterday. I don't remember which content creator. It was one of the more, professional ones that have been around that are good. I don't remember if it was Orion or it was, I don't think it was Mike from Autistic AF. I don't know which one it was, but was talking about, I don't know, it could have been an email, could have been from an organization for ADHD or neurodivergence. Oh, it might have been on a website. Oh, I know what it was that I was going to tell you. So yesterday was the first time that I actually started looking at, I was trying to find a place that does autism screening tests, assessments, whatever they call it, for autism for adults. And I don't know why, but just sitting and thinking about looking these things up, I think there's a triple whammy effect of the anxiety. First, you got the anxiety of like, oh, I don't want to deal with this. This is just overwhelming. So you already feel that way if you're like me, like my friends who deal with executive functioning issues. I know that both autistic people and ADHD people can deal with executive functioning, and every single person is very different in the things that they struggle with, but it's very common, and the amount that it affects them is very different. And for me, it's pretty bad. It's always made it difficult for me to navigate medical care systems and their websites and actually looking up primary care doctors. I just get so overwhelmed by, and I feel dumb. It's like I have to relearn how I think about everything. I think that's why it's so hard to learn about neurodivergence, because the more you learn, the more things start to come up that you never thought about. It's like this constant unlearning, and it's totally changing your whole perception. What's normal, what's not, or typical, not typical. And also the accepting and coming to the realization that not it's yes, there's an actual thing going on. I'm covering the thing here. So in a way, it's good because you know now you're not crazy. You're not just being too sensitive. You're not just like being a baby. They didn't know about this stuff when I was young. They just figured everyone was the same. Unless the only time they knew somebody, I don't even think they knew about ADHD. They knew about autism, but I think it was like what we think of as the stereotype of autism, like when somebody is like not verbal and very, very much affected by it, higher support needs. Because that's obvious, right? So who knew there were all these people, a whole nother category of people struggling with autism, maybe lower support needs like me, who pass as normal because we have desperately hid since childhood everything that could be mocked, get you in trouble, be rejected by people you love, like your family, your teachers. You care so much, and all these things that you naturally do is unacceptable, right? So you learn to hide them. You don't even know why. You just know that this is bad. The people around you are what form your opinion of what reality is. The people around you are what inform you and teach you as a child behavior of what is acceptable and what is not. You don't know you have ADHD. You don't know you have autism. You don't know you struggle with different things. You just know, oh, I'm being bad. Oh, this is bad. I can't do this. I don't know why I do this. I don't think there's thinking when you're that young. That's how literally as far as I can remember. And a lot of women are high masking. I did read, I don't remember if it was an article the other day. I did read, and I've heard quite a few content creators talk about this. So I know that in the community and with doctors and people who study like autism and ADHD, like nowadays, they'll tell you about masking and what leads to it. If you've never heard about it, it seems like something you can just put on and take off. But at least from my experience, I can't talk about other folks with autism or ADHD. In my experience, it's automatic, knee-jerk fear response. It like conditioned by everybody in your environment. And you know, my mom probably feels really bad about it. But there's no way I can talk about that without mentioning people in your environment. And it's not about specific people. It's not about, at least in my generation, it's not about specific people. It's not about specific families. Although some people have gone through abusive families, which makes it even worse. Right? So, and then some of the challenges that you could have as a neurodivergent person from the challenges that you have surviving trauma, the depression, the anxiety, the PTSD, those are natural, like they're almost like siblings to having ADHD. They kind of like just tag along. So you may have gone through, depending on if there was addiction in your household, abuse. You may have these things and just attribute it to being a survivor of trauma, especially if you're an addiction survivor or struggling to become sober, or like an alcoholism in your family and whatever. And there's a lot of things to navigate through and learn about. And as you're, especially in the beginning of your healing journey, you start with the physical of the recovery part, and then they start you with counseling. And God bless you all. God bless you all. My heart goes out to you so much. I knew if I could drink, if my body wasn't so sensitive, like I literally can't like drink alcohol. It's always kind of been that way. Like, I can't drink like other people. I go straight to sick. Like, my body's that sensitive. I don't digest it well. Women don't really in general, but I literally can't drink. And I would always joke. I would joke that I must have been an addict in a past life, an alcoholic. I must have asked God before I was born, make it so I physically cannot drink. I have this weird feeling that that might be the case. I don't know if that's like fantasy or imagine. It's probably fantasy. But if I could have drink, I absolutely 100% would have been an alcoholic. 100%. I think. I've always felt that way. Because I didn't deal well with things like other people did. I mean, nobody deals well with loss and hardships in life, and we all struggle with them, right? We all have them. It's part of life. But I especially wasn't able to, I don't want to say bounce back, because depending on what the thing is you're going through, like if you're losing your home and you have to find a place to live, like there's some emergency and you have to like do the survival skills to get a place to live so you're not homeless. That's a hardship. How now with the stress, how do you make yourself think straight in order to plan the steps if you're in panic mode? When normally you could make yourself do it, but now your brain shut off because you're in freaking anxiety panic mode, and all of a sudden now you can't think and you're staring at the wall like a crazy person and you don't know why your brain just shut off. That makes it so much worse. I'm rambling. What was I going to tell you about? Yeah. Yesterday was the first day that I started looking up in my state places that do autism assessments to see. Because I heard that most places don't assess adults. I'm thinking what I should have done. I reached out to 4 or 5 places. I'm like, I was, oh my gosh. I had so much anxiety and I don't even know why. I kept telling myself, you're just getting information. Don't panic. You're not actually signing up to have the assessment yet. You're just getting information. But just even considering it, it's like suddenly it made it real. And I wasn't accepting of that. And I'm like, I don't want to be disabled. I don't want to deal with this too. Almost like it's not rational. It's an emotional coming to terms with something response. It's a part of a grieving process, if you will. I think that's what's unique about the journey to finding out if you're neurodivergent, any kind of neurodivergent, because it's so complicated. The varying ways that it can present or give you challenges in your life and how much it impacts your ability to function and take care of yourself. And especially if you pass as normal and you're an intelligent person and you can help other people, but you can't seem to get out of your own way to just be normal and actually hold a job. That is insanity. It makes no sense. I still don't get it. And I have this part of me that is a fighter that doesn't accept this as okay. And I have like part of me is like this like wild animal that's just like, F no, we are taking care of this. Like I'm clawing, like ferociously fighting against it. That doesn't, in some situations that might help you, but this one's no. So I found 4 or 5 places I was looking before I got ready for work. And I kind of knew, I heard that most of them don't take insurance. But I have insurance through the state, so I was hoping like, I don't know why I thought that, because of course they take insurance, but not that one. Like my thinking was backwards. I don't know why. I was surprised that these places took insurance at all. It seemed when I looked on, they would have a list of all the different insurance companies they accept. Not one of them had Mass Health. Not one. They all responded back, sorry, we can't help you. Because I said, do you assess adults for autism? And do you take my insurance? And they all wrote back, sorry, we can't help you. Because I asked the question about if they take my insurance. I should have just asked them, do you do assessments for adults? I should have done that. I'm still upset about it, and that's just like a human reaction. I'm not really upset. It just happened. I'm just kind of like processing that. It'll take me like a day or two to kind of like, I don't know why, it just takes me forever. I'm surprised I actually started reaching out to them, because I didn't think I would even go through this process with everything I learned about a lot of places aren't trained. I didn't know that. A lot of places, the psychiatrists or psychologists that test for autism are not specially trained or work in the autism field. That's insane to me. That's stupid. I don't know any other word. That seems like something that is not smart. Like, it should be a given. If you're testing for a specific mental disability or physical disability or whatever it is, shouldn't that person be knowledgeable in that condition? Shouldn't that be baseline requirement? You don't have to be like expert, but you should be knowledgeable. You should know how it presents differently in adults versus children. My phone is about to turn off, and I'm going to say bye to you guys because this is too long. You already know all of this stuff probably if you are somebody who struggles with this. I am finding my way as far as making regular content. This past week, I wasn't able to do the weekly video on Thursday. I had one I started editing, and I've been hemming and hawing whether I want to post it because it has to do with that day where I was having anxiety attacks, and it's personal and it's embarrassing and there's shame attached to it. And I don't know if exposing that would be helpful for anyone. I don't know. I'm going back and forth on that. Maybe you guys can let me know if you think that would be helpful at all. Would that help you to see how I was trying different things in the moment when I was panicking to calm myself down? Would it help normalize it for you guys to see somebody else who normally passes off as very successful and smart and articulate? And I come across as, I am hardworking, but I come across as resourceful. And if you didn't know me, you wouldn't think at all that I struggle with anything. I don't even, talking to you, you probably don't think that at all. So it's hard for me to accept. But I do. And those are the things that I've been conditioned to hide with shame. So I'm not sure if it would help you guys. So I've been scared. So I haven't really worked on it. So that kind of was like a monkey wrench in my weekly plan. But I am getting on a schedule, and I decided that from week to week, if I do not do a video Thursday afternoons drop, and I'm shooting for 3:30, around 3 or 3:30 every Thursday. So if you guys want to tune in, look for a live around then, because if I'm not doing a video, I'm at least going to do a live. And I'll do that to be regular every week to get the algorithm. And it's going to help me to start forming a routine. I hope you guys are having a good week. I'm going to have more good news for you as things go. And I'm also learning about the nervous system right now with my counselor. Some of it's a review with the anatomy and all of that, but I'm learning skills, and I'm also doing research on trying to find like hacks to do like a stopgap that in the middle of spiraling and panicking, something that we can do to kind of like lessen the spike of panic so that we don't have that cortisol dump and that fear and all those. Yeah. I'm going to try to figure out ways we can manage it. And then I will teach you guys. Some of it you may already know, but I'm going to share what I can, and that way we can help each other. I hope you guys are doing good, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Please look out for a live. I would love to talk to more of you. The more that we all get together,